Welcome to the Inner Dominatrix classroom. Ta-da! Today's lesson is all about badass marketing. We're going to make this fun, we're going to make it informative, and we're going to give you some shit to move you forward. Because that's the idea. All right, let's dive in to taking a look at what it takes for you to get some badass marketing in place so that you can get more clients, have more ease, have more money, all that good stuff. So 3 key components to getting your marketing in place. You need to have all 3 of these rocking in order to really get that marketing message out there, really connecting in with your clients. So first thing, of course, coming from the world of the dominatrix is that you have to show up as who you are. Okay, so in that world as a dominatrix, if I'm not into something, it's probably not a good thing for me to go down that route. So I need to be showing up in a way that's authentic so that, it connects, it's alive. And the same thing in all of our businesses. If you're doing a business that doesn't fit with who you are, it's going to show up. There's so much that is done in the digital marketing world and, marketing in general that is out of alignment with who people are. But the thing is that doesn't fly anymore. So authenticity, I'm going to put this up here. Authenticity. Okay, clearly Danny can't spell. So authenticity is really the first key. You've got to be true to who you are. You've got to be bringing that in, because here's the reality is that we have shifted things as far as consciousness. We've shifted things in, how aware we are, and people are not stupid anymore. People, not that they have been, but they've been a little more easily misled. So people are not as easily misled anymore, which means that the typical copy that used to convert really great is not converting anymore, because you need to show up and be connected with that message in a way that says to the person that they can feel energetically you resonate with your message. So that is a big part of this authenticity thing, is that you're owning your message. You're owning what you are bringing it forward, right? You can see, I love this. This is like, it's true. It's like, it fits for who I am. It fits for the message that I want to bring to people. And so there's no disconnect. And this is the thing, it's like when it's not fully aligned with who you are, if you're not fully in your authenticity, it's going to feel kind of wonky. And that creates a disconnect in your marketing, which breaks that whole chain for people showing up and working with you. Okay. Now, of course, along with that of course is all the inner game, which is a big part of the inner dominatrix and clearing out your bullshit to get you showing up authentically. But we also need to pair that up with the strategy part of it, pair it up with the actual pieces. So you need to know and own your brand. Okay, you have to be standing in who you are as a brand. So whether it's a personal brand because it's just you, or it is a company brand, but you have to know who is that? What is that voice? What are the colors that you own? What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? All of those pieces in your branding still applies here. You still need to have that, but it's got to be connected to your authenticity. So these 2 pieces are working together. You also still need your message. Okay. Okay, your messaging does need to line up with your authenticity. So you need to be authentic about your messaging, and it needs to connect with your brand. So all those pieces are going to come together when you're looking at your marketing being really effective. Okay, so, but personally, I'm a little biased on that. This is why I put this at the top. This one to me is the most important, because particularly if you are a solo, primarily a solo entrepreneur, or it is you are the brand, maybe you have a team, hopefully you have a team. If you're the brand, if you're the face, if you're the product, so to speak, then authenticity is going to be absolutely key, because most likely you're doing like what I'm doing. You're getting here on camera, you're being there, you're showing up as the face. And so it's more and more opportunities where people are going to notice if there's a disconnect. Okay, so this authenticity piece, absolutely key. Now, if we look at what are the things that get in the way of us really having these pieces together? And particularly, like I said, particularly the authenticity piece. What's getting in the way of us actually having these pieces show up? Okay, so in looking at this is all the inner work. I know, it's so much fun. But what we need to do in here, in order to be showing up authentically, we need to own who we are as an expert. Okay, that's a big landmine. Okay, because of course, if you're going to stand in and be an expert, boom, all those pieces about, oh, I'm an imposter. What do I know? Who am I? Ooh, all those start to come up. But if we're not standing in how we are an expert, then there's this little piece of disconnect that comes through energetically. So we need to own this. We also, because as we get standing in our message and being really, really clear about it, here's the funny thing. We start getting judged. We start getting haters. So we need to be judged, okay? So we need to, we're just going to put judgment. And this is the Canadian version of the spelling. Canadian and, European. So we need to be willing to be judged. Now, willing to be judged is not the same as like, yeah, I'm okay. You can go ahead and judge me, right? Like, that's not willing to be judged. That's willing to put up a wall and call everybody an asshole because they're judging you. Not the same as being willing to be judged. So the inner dominatrix version of that is, you're judging me? Oh, no problem. I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to use it as fuel to run my business. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. That's the difference. So when you're willing to receive the judgment, the same way you would a compliment from a friend or just a hug from your friend, the way you welcome that in, when you can get to the place where you're welcoming in the judgment, it is really easy to show up authentically because you're not worried about what people are going to say. You're not worried about how they're criticizing you. Okay. Now, the third component that I would see, now there's a few things, but the third main one is along the same line. So you need to be willing to lose. Okay, so willing to lose. This does not mean you set out trying to destroy your business, but it is about detachment from the outcome. Gonna get a little woo on you. So yes, detachment from the outcome is that piece of moving forward, letting go of the expectations. And again, this is an area that's filled with landmines because we have all kinds of attachment to, I need to be making this amount of money, or, I need to be, it's like, I have to get this kind of status. And I see these three pieces coming up again and again with my clients, where these are the pieces that trip them up from being able to really rock their marketing, which is why I wanted to put this together. But when we start changing these pieces, when we start, getting really comfy with all of those, then I see clients really being able to rocket it. And recently I just had a client reach out to me who, she worked with me about a year ago, and it was so fantastic to hear this success. So about a year ago, her life was like in a bit of a mess. And so we dug in, we did a few sessions together, and we dug in really deep of getting her clear of those inner deeper pieces. And what happened as a result is that she was able to lean into letting go of the job that wasn't working for her, even though it was in the field that she really wanted to go into. And, that was just, so she was in the real estate field. But she was working as like, what did it say, support person. And so she's bringing in all these leads for the agent. And finally, in loosening off the pieces that were going on at the deeper level, she was able to see where that was out of alignment for her, where that wasn't really her true calling. She was compromising, and she was going for this job because she didn't really trust that she could do it. Now, fast forward, she's gotten her real estate license. Right out of the gate, she was getting clients, which is unheard of in that industry for the most part. And then she just reached out to me and said that she's had her first $100,000 month commissions. Like, that's amazing. So all of this has happened because we laid that foundational pieces of getting her out of her own way and being able to open it up so that she could actually bring in the money and take the action. Okay, so those are really fun pieces. All right, so let's look at the solution here. So because of course we've identified where our issues are, what stops us from showing up authentically and really leaning into our message and our brand. And solution wise, if we look at these pieces that are coming up, so where we're not willing to be judged, I kind of gave you a little preemptive piece. The idea of reframing, I prepped myself. So the idea of reframing things. So this is a way of reframing it, right? So instead of it being a judgment as something that you don't want, if you can reframe it to be able to look at it as something that you do want. It's like, oh, it's fuel. It's just energy. It's coming at me. And that, for a lot of people, just that simple reframe is enough to get them up and going and taking off. So great. About 15% of the people can just like grab a reframe, run. Now, the rest of us, including myself, a reframe will help. It gives you a bit of a lift, but we still need to do some of that deeper work. Okay, so we need to get in and actually clear the pieces that are going on. Clear those connections where it says, if someone judges me, that is not safe. That's not okay. And those kinds of programs get set up, unfortunately, at an early age. Our subconscious mind attaches this thing of being judged or being criticized as being I'm unsafe or I'm unworthy or I'm not valuable or whatever it is that our subconscious mind translates that to. And so then when we go out in the world and those similar things happen, we hook it onto what happened to us as children that we haven't cleared because it's still in our system energetically. So in moving that out, what we want to do is we want to actually disconnect the memories from the emotion, and that stops that hooking on. So then you're not attaching and layering on layers and layers and layers and layers. So by going in and changing the base program, it actually like unhooks all the chains. And then when something comes in where it's just a criticism, then you can oh, it's just a criticism. You can do something fun as far as a reframe or, a spin on it. You can be like, I'm made of rubber, you're made of glue, bounce stuff at me and sticks to you, right? You can do something like that and it flips really easily when you've done the deeper work. Then it's really easy to put those pieces in place. So we need to clear it. Now, you can totally do clearing on your own. Love it. So if you want I'm going to give you like the real highlight version here. If you want the deeper explanation of how to do the self-clearing, put into the comments or send me an email, dana@danaferrant.com. So put in the comments, just put in badass marketing and we'll get you hooked up with a whole, strategy for actually clearing your pieces. Okay. So basically what I do with this is that it is a 2-statement process. Using the I'm okay and I'm okay not. So what you want to do is the filling in the blank. So I'm okay to XYZ. I'm okay to not XYZ. And the XYZ is maybe we'll take a run off of the judgment piece. I'm okay to be judged. And if you just say that statement, and it's not about making it true, this is not affirmation work. Okay. So we're looking to bring up the charge so that we can clear it. So you say the statement and then take a deep breath and with the intention on the exhale to move out and disconnect the energetic charge. Okay, so with the intention, because energy follows intention. It's so cool. Okay, so you repeat that process. Say the statement, breath, clear. Okay, that is the process. And you repeat that until when you say the statement, it feels neutral. And neutral is the sky is blue. You say that statement, the sky is blue. That's the feeling of neutral. Okay, so you've got that in place. You're going to say the statement, you're going to do the breath, you're going to release it, you're going to do the opposite. And the opposite is I'm okay to not. Okay, it's not I'm not okay. I'm okay to not be judged. So what we're doing is we're just clearing out where any judgments or emotions that we have on both having it or being it or doing it, as well as not having it or being it or doing it. Because if you look at things, in particular, I always love this example of money, because this is where it gets clear. when it comes to money, we have judgments, emotions, bugaboos about having it. And we also have judgments and bugaboos and crap about not having it. So when we clear both sides of it, we're left with the space in the middle of pure choice. And choice gives us options. Choice is freeing, and that's the point of this. Okay, so you can totally get the deeper explanation of how to do the self-clear by emailing me, dana@danaferrant.com, or commenting with Badass Marketing, and we'll follow up with a direct message for you. Okay, now here's the thing, is that your subconscious mind, which is kind of in charge of all of these programs that we're clearing out with the self-clearing, your subconscious mind is like that iceberg. There's a whole lot going on underneath that you're not seeing. So generally, when we're doing the DIY, we are addressing the tip of the iceberg, which is great. It makes a difference, okay? Don't discount it entirely and say, I'm not going to do any of the DIY, because it's not all of it, okay? But these deeper pieces, sometimes they're hidden and we can't see them because our subconscious mind, okay? Here, I want you to know, you probably know this already, but the subconscious mind is designed to keep you safe. So when you had stuff going on as a kid, you set up a conditioned response in that when somebody criticizes me, then it leads to this. So I'm going to try to avoid being criticized. And you may set up all kinds of interesting behaviors as a result of that, but you're not necessarily aware of it. So let me give you a quick little story. So one of my clients, so she had a setup where, she came to me and she said, okay, I really want to get this moving. Every time I go to the airport, I'm like vomiting and, gastrointestinal problems, not to get too graphic, but that would happen every time, and she really wanted to travel. She loved going places. Once she got through customs, it was fine. But all the lead up from the packing to getting through, the security, all of those things was always triggering this huge reaction in her body. And it's not like she could go, well, this is ridiculous, I'm safe. And she would tell herself that, but that wasn't changing the situation underneath. Because what was going on when we really started to dig is that there were some really deep programmings that were set up as a result of things that happened in her childhood, in which when she had an incident that her throwing up kept her safe. It actually prevented her from being abused. One time. Now, it didn't prevent all the other times, but that one time it prevented the abuse. And so what it did is it locked in so deeply into her subconscious mind, this connection that throwing up keeps me safe. And so every time she would come across an encounter that was similar to her childhood experiences or triggered that, she would end up going through these same physical symptoms. Now, this is extreme, but it really speaks to the fact that our subconscious mind doesn't work on this kind of, logical parameters. It absolutely not. It is there to keep you safe. And once it figures out something that keeps you safe, it's going to keep it locked in come hell or high water. Okay. And the other thing is that your subconscious mind doesn't want you to actually see what's going on underneath. It's doing a really good job. And it's kind of like, a really enthusiastic employee who gets brownie points for every time he does a good job. So your subconscious mind is trying to keep you safe. And every time it does something that it thinks it keeps you safe, then it's like, yay! So it's not going to want your conscious mind to know what it's doing. And they're trying to hide it from everybody. They're like, I'm just doing a good job. Just keep focused on I'm doing a good job. So it's going to hide the underlying reasons from you. It also lies to you. Totally lies to you. Okay. It will tell you that things are not safe when it actually is, because its primary job is to do this amazing job at keeping you safe. So it actually kind of ends up looking for ways to keep you safe so that it gets the little kudos attaboys, right? It gets to get in there and get working. So as a result of this, when there are really big things, right? That lower part of the iceberg, those deeper pieces, when that's what's going on, it's really difficult for us to see it ourselves. is really difficult, even for me. Like, I can't look at my own stuff because I'm all up in it and I can't see what's under the surface. And so this is where going deeper with somebody else will get you a lot further, because if like for me, if I'm sitting on the outside, I can see through your bullshit. I can see through all your crazy stories, and we can laser pinpoint what exactly is going on and then change it. And changing it together so that you've got somebody to, kind of energetically hold your hand through that process to make it safe. Because again, we got to like work with the subconscious mind, convince it that it's safe, and then it's able and willing to let go of those programs, those crazy programs that don't actually work for you and prevent you from being able to implement your badass marketing. So that's what's going on. I want you to make sure that you get yourself situated, do some reframing of, your resistance to leaning into these pieces. Contact me, so dana@danaferrant.com, or put a comment in the comments, badass marketing, and we'll get to the self-clearing process at a deeper level and work on those pieces. And then when you get stuck, when you get onto, you need some help, you need to get deeper, or if you know that there are bigger pieces that need to be moved out, then reach out to me. You can go over to bookdana.in and we can set up the consultation is free. We talk about what you need. Is it a good fit? Is it not a good fit? There's absolutely zero pressure. I don't work that way. But hopefully that helps. Let me know how that works for you. And I hope you get your badass marketing rocking. All right. Be brilliant. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next training with your inner dominatrix.